With the release of the full patch 7.3 patch notes, we have our pause on all of the job balance changes, and I'm going to be focused on them in this video. First off, we're looking at Monk getting buffs to their AoE damage. While you see reduction in potency here, it actually is a net buff because you are having less reduction on AoE. Likewise, this is hitting quite a few abilities in the Monk's kit, and so while each of them individually isn't that much, totally, it is going to add up to be quite a bit more damage. Floor Tank is getting a similar effect where their Star Diver and Star Cross abilities are going to hit a little bit harder to enemies in AoE. Ninja, unlike the other jobs we just talked about, is actually straight up having damage increased to Hellfrog Medium, up 90 potency from 160 to 250, so quite a sizable buff. Dokumori is getting a sizable buff again from 300 to 400. Phantom Kami Itachi from 600 to 700, so 100 potency. Kunai's Bane, 600 to 700, so 100 potency gain there. And then Deathfrog Medium, which is the upgrade of Hellfrog Medium, is getting a 140 potency bump from 260 to 400. Likewise, even though we would expect Deathfrog Medium to only be really used in AoE situations, this is something with the other abilities that is going to impact their single target efficacy as well. Samurai is following Dragoon and Monk in that basically all of its changes are to increase its AoE efficacy. Hisatsu Guren no longer has damage reduction in AoE, so all of them are going to take the full damage. Likewise, Shoha, Ogi Namakiri, Keishi Namakiri, and Zanshin are all having their AoE damage reduction lowered from 50 to 40%, so in AoE this is going to be a buff. Reaper's getting two sets of buffs. First of all, Plentiful Harvest, Communio, Sacrificium, and Perfecto, all going to do more damage in AoE. Interesting, very interesting though, is that Enshroud's recast time has been reduced from 15 to 5 seconds. I'm not a super big Reaper player, but I do know that some Reapers do like to chain their Enshroud windows for like a double late pot window or something like that. Correct me obviously if I'm wrong, I don't play Reaper that much, but this I definitely see as being something that Reaper players could like. Viper is actually looking at being nerfed, and so we're going to read through this just to be very careful here. Is reduction in potency after the first target has been changed from 50 to 60%. So the reduction in potency of the AoE targets that aren't the first target has been increased from 50% to 60%. So that means that Viper is going to do less damage in AoE. Not really surprising because the meta for M6S's ads phase in week 1, which I did do, definitely Viper was notably stronger than the others, I will be honest. Not mandatory by any means, but it was noticeable. Likewise, you can just see it's a swath of skills. So basically Viper's AoE is being toned down a bit. Not severely, Viper's not going to be dead, but this is a noticeable tone down. Bard is getting a decent set of buffs. One is to Resonant Arrow, potency increased from 600 to 640, so I love tap in that direction. And then for Radiant Encore, we're looking at it because realistically you're probably going to try and get 3 coda from 900 to 1000 potency. So it's going to be helpful, but do I see it completely changing Bard? No. For Machinist, who I do believe needs some level of buffs, we are thankfully seeing a few here. So Auto Crossbow AoE ability is going to have 20 more potency baseline. Drill is going to have 20 more potency. Flamethrower, 20 more potency. So Flamethrower might, over all of its ticks, inch out and be more competitive ability, because right now there's a lot of machinists that aren't really using it, which I'm pretty sure that it is better than the default spam when someone is just standing there, but I digress, I'm getting too deep. Air Anchor, 20 more potency. Chainsaw, 20 more potency, as well as Chainsaw is also going to do more damage in AoE. Double Check and Checkmate, these are just the OG CD weaves that Machinist has. It's getting 10 more potency each, and they do spam them quite a bit, so that 10 potency is going to go quite far. Excavator's potency is increased by 20, as well as Excavator's AoE damage is going to be higher on other targets other than the first one. And then Full Metal Field isn't getting a damage increase directly, but it is getting 5% more damage to AoE targets. Again, only 5%. I don't know how much we'll even notice that, but Machinist buffs definitely necessary, so this is healthy. Now for summon, we're looking at summon Ifrit, summon Titan, and summon Garuda. I'm just going to refer to the ones at the bottom. That's going to do 10% more damage in AoE to the other enemies other than the first. We're looking at potency increases, 40 more potency on Ruin 3, 30 more potency on Ruin 4. Ruby Right, Emerald Right, Crimson Cyclone, Crimson Strike, and Slipstream are all going to get 30 more potency added to each of them, and then they are also going to have less AoE damage fall off. Red Mage is getting buffs. Enhanced Riposte is getting 4 more damage. Enhanced Zerwachu is going to be getting 20 more potency, and Enhanced Redoublement is going to be getting 20 more potency. Now for Flare, Holy Scorch, Resolution, Vice of Thorns, Grand Impact, and Prefulgence, they're all going to be doing a little bit more damage in AoE. Their fall off is going to be reduced by 5% each. In addition to that, Vice of Thorns is now going to do 100 more potency, and then Prefulgence is going to be doing 200 more potency. So Red Mage is going to be getting a decent bump forward. So I've taken a few reads through this, and Pictomancer is just getting nerfs. So Fire and Red is going to be doing 30 less potency, Arrow and Green 30 less potency, Water and Blue 30 less potency. Hammer Stamp is going to actually be doing more potency, so maybe I shouldn't say nerfs. I'll change the thumbnail to, or a timestamp to rework. It's going to be up 80 potency for Hammer Stamp, and so 480 to 560. However, Blizzard and Cyan, Stone and Yellow, and Thunder and Magenta, so those are going to be all decreased by 40 apiece. Holy and White is also going to be decreased by 30, and I don't even know how to say more than that. Comet and Black is also getting a 40 potency decrease, and then Hammer Brush is getting a 20 potency increase, and then Polishing Hammer is getting a 20% increase in potency. So what this means is that your hammer skills, which remember they have like the guaranteed direct hit crit, basically those 3 hammer skills are getting a buff, but we're looking at so many nerfs everywhere that I do think this is a net nerf to Pictomancer. I'm going to rely on other people to do like extensive number calculation, because I know a lot of people want this information hot off the press, but like, oh my god, what the fuck. I think like this looks like a overall nerf to me, at least, even if the hammer skills direct crit. Like, oof. We're going to start with White Mage, but all the healers are going to have a similar theme. So for White Mage, Medica, Assize, and Plenary Indulgence are all having their AoE range increased quite substantially, which I know people will be like 15 to 20, is that substantial? Yes. As someone who's done healing, yes. And then Plenary Indulgence is just going to hit the entire fucking arena. Like, it's 20 to 30. That's ridiculous. But then White Mage is getting the most gentle love tap in the world forward, with 5 more potency to base Dia cast, and then 5 more potency per tick. And so what, we're going to assume 30 seconds, 3 server seconds a tick, they're going to get 10 ticks, and so we're looking at roughly 55 more potency overall in Dia, or something like that. Scholar is also getting AoE range increase, Whispering Dawn, Succored, Indom, Fey Blessing, Angel's Whisper, Consultation, Accession. These are all going to be increased from 15 to 20 yalms, which I am going to definitely appreciate as a Scholar player. Broil is also going to be getting 10 more damage to it, which remember we cast Broil like 90% of the fucking time. Okay, I stand corrected, not 90% of the time, 99% of the time. For Astro, we're looking at Helios Aspected, Helios Celestial Opposition, Helios Conjunction from 15 to 20, and then Horoscope from 20 to 30, so just range. For Sage, Prognosis, Physis, Eucrasian Prognosis, Ixocal, Pepsis, Eucrasian Prognosis. Interesting, Numa didn't get a range increase because it's also a heal too. But all of those are from 15 to 20, and then we're looking at 10 more damage to Dosis, Toxicon, and Numa. I find it very interesting that Numa's range wasn't increased, because like, I digress, but it's just interesting that it only got the buffs. Anyhow, let me know what you guys think, and if this video helped you out, please drop a stack of Scholar spamming anything than fucking Broil on that like button. Cat daddy that subscribe button. Take care.